personality.
If you smell,
I am a real American.
On this episode, join Andy, John, Lord Crewe, and Aaron Williams as they discuss Pawcade and say goodbye to the road home from wrestling.
Here in my car, I feel safest of all. I can lock all my doors. It's the only way to live in cars. Here in my car, I can only receive. I can listen to you.
All right, well, we're headed home from another week at Pawcade. My name's Andy, coming to you live to tape from the Road Home from Wrestling Satellite World Mobile Headquarters of the world. And I got John in the front seat. What up, John?
Guys, I am so excited to be back on the road home from wrestling, and it's been a long time coming, and here we are.
Yeah, it's a long time going, too. It took us forever to start the show, but here we are, and it's not just you, John. We also got Aaron Williams in the back. What up, Aaron?
What is up, my employees?
Way to spoil it. Jeez.
Well, hey. Was there any doubt?
Nah, not
No,
really.
That's right.
Not really.
That's
Well,
right.
But it's not just you, it's also Lord Crewe in the back. What's up, Lord Crewe?
What is up, dudes?
Not too much. We just went to this wrestling show. It was called Pawcade. It was for a benefit for the Salem
Animal shelter.
with the shelters and the things. Yes, that.
They
And-
help feed and shelter homeless cats and dogs.
That's
So
true.
it was for the puppies.
It was
Yeah.
for the dogs, and for the record, I like dogs way more than I like people. So
Yeah,
this was
and
good.
This was a good thing for all.
It's true.
And there was a lot of people who brought dogs tonight, so I got to pet a ton of dogs at intermission. So that
was
to
good.
me, I wish every show had just a high amount of dog attendance.
Did you see those couple of dogs that legit looked like little foxes?
Yes.
They looked like little
Yes.
foxes, and
Yes.
I loved them.
Yes.
Well, there was tons of dogs. This was a neat show. It was put on by Chad French, and it's also my last show here on the Road Home from Wrestling, and maybe the last episode ever. We don't know, not sure. So we're going to talk about the show as far as Pawcade a little bit. We're also going to just kind of say goodbye to everybody. So that's what the show's all about. I don't know, John, do you want to just run through the results? I mean, is that how you want to do it? And then we can kind of talk about anything that's notable and then just move on from there? Or what do you think?
Sure, that works.
Okay.
So this was Pawcade. It
Yes.
was presented by MidwestTerritory.com and Paradigm Pro Wrestling.
And the Road Home from Wrestling.
In our opening contest that started right on time at 7 o'clock,
It did.
it was very exciting, was a Big Dog Scramble. It featured Juicy Jimmy, Drew Dillinger, Big Beef, Big Cuz, Bastard Cassidy, The Hoodfoot, and Zodiac.
A lot of people in this match, a lot of beef in that ring. Did you fellas in the back, did either one of you guys see any of this?
I saw a little bit of it, and I thought the ring was literally going to fall apart.
Yeah, I saw a very little bit of it myself, but as previously mentioned, a whole lot of beef in that ring.
A whole lot of beefing.
All these guys are pretty good wrestlers, and
Boys.
the venue was pretty perfect for this kind of thing. Not only was the venue just a giant covered area that you would have like a 4-H club type meeting in or something like that, it also had a joining meet. Whoa, guy's got no lights on, just driving around in the rain at night.
that dude is living dangerously.
Wow.
Holy shit.
Living on the edge. And that's what we do on the Road Home from Wrestling. But there was also an adjoining building that was like the biggest dressing room of all time.
Yeah.
Which was perfect. So you guys could kind of go from there to the entrance. And we had all these people enter. And John, is there anything notable from the match, or we just talk about who won?
I mean, the only of note is that the rings were real loosey-goosey.
The rings?
The ropes
Yeah.
were real loosey-goosey.
Look,
And
Crew, you couldn't even do your entrance. They were so loose, huh?
I made it work.
Yeah, you did.
As did I.
You were like swinging on them a little bit, but hey, you made it work later on. That was like the big of note for me, was how loose these ropes were, and I was just nervous.
A lot of meat slapping in that ring.
Oh,
boys.
man.
Oh,
Yeah.
A whole lot of meat slapping.
And as you said, it was the perfect venue because this kind of looked like an area where they would herd cattle. And so if you had all this big beef,
It's true. It's true.
like it was the
Big
perfect
beef.
spot when they were on display.
Whoa,
that was
sick.
sick. Lightning
We
bolt.
just saw an awesome lightning
It
bolt.
looked like a
man.
Metallica
Damn.
music video.
Dude, that was great.
Crewe, were you upset that you weren't asked to be in this? You're a big dude. You're not beefy, but you're tall.
I mean, he's a little beefy.
I mean,
You're a little
like-
beefy, but like.
I will say there are a lot of dudes in that match who I've never gotten to wrestle that I would like to. So I almost am kind of happy that I didn't get asked to be in that match because there are a lot of dudes that I wouldn't want to waste that as my first time getting to work with them.
Fair
like,
enough.
I would really like a match with Big Beef, Gnarls Garvin. I would
He's
enjoy
great.
that. I would like a match with the Bastard, actually.
Yeah, I would actually.
And
like that too.
His special move is getting chopped.
Yeah, taking a chop. I learned, figured that one out tonight.
His skin is so white. He's a ginger, and when he gets chopped, it just turns all
Are
red,
you
kind of
allowed
like
to
Gary
say
J.
that? Are you allowed to say that?
What do you mean?
The G word?
Ginger? Yes, I'm part ginger, so I can say whatever I want.
You're bald.
Yeah.
Oh
and?
my gosh.
You son of a bitch.
Oh, that's freaking baldest back there.
I'm a quarter
I'm saying
ginger and I'm
right
bald.
here.
Oh, so you're allowed to say the G word, but I'm not allowed to say the B word.
Beefy?
Bald?
This is horseshit.
Why are you? You're not bald.
Anyways,
Or
I,
beefy.
anyways, I would like to wrestle the Bastard. That's what we were really trying to
Okay.
get
Yeah.
to here.
Well. Anyway. Well, who won? Who won?
The Hoodfoot, I believe, won with a Blue Thunder Bomb on Big Beef.
We forgot. We didn't see what happened.
Well, there was just so many people in the ring that it was hard to
It's a lot of beef, man.
It was hard to see
Big
what.
cum.
Big cum.
Yeah, Big Cuz was there. He had new gear.
He did. He looked pretty good. He had Andre Macaroni
Yeah.
with him, and
He cut his hair.
He cut his hair. They look good, man. They were
Yeah, they got a whole new look, man.
Macaroni, I like the new do, but
Yeah, man. Macaroni's a hero, man. He did some good stuff recently, so good for him.
Well,
I
hey,
like
they
that guy.
are. They like to take out the trash.
That's
They're
true.
the mentality.
That's true.
They clean things up.
I don't think
so.
they're called that anymore, but that's okay. So Hoodfoot won, and what happened next, John?
We went to our next match. After Paradigm did a really good job here, they cleaned the ropes every single time
They
in
did.
between
They did.
matches. So they really kept up with the health code that some companies don't believe in, but this one did. The next match was a no DQ match pitting legendary Larry D against Mike Roach.
Now, Mike Roach, friend of the show, he's been on the show before. He told the story about how he did a match with toothpicks and had them in his skin for weeks and almost died from the infection. So that was a good time. So I yelled at him. I said, "Hey, who's got the toothpicks?" And he's like, "Fuck that shit." So don't do toothpicks, guys. This match.
No worries, bro.
only time I think a toothpick is acceptable in professional wrestling is when Razor Ramon's flicking it.
Ah,
Okay,
very
alright,
good,
yeah.
very good. Well, so this match was kind of special.
Shout out to Razor.
So it's just a standard match, and they did some fun stuff. But there's a couple reasons why it was special. One was because God got involved in this match. Kind of. Did you guys catch this?
I ran
yeah.
my ass inside because it was getting extremely windy and started pouring rain.
Yeah.
So I was gonna watch the match, but I didn't want to get completely shat on by rain. So.
That's fair.
I got bits and pieces of it, and I do know that the lights were gone.
Yeah, so the lights went out, and Larry was like, "He's here, the Undertaker," and he kept trying to do the cane. He kept trying to summon, fire, and
I don't know why in the world he didn't show up. I'm pretty sure they paid.
paid for him $100 million or how much it
Yeah.
cost to book the fucking Undertaker. But eventually,
Must have put the hammer down.
eventually it came back on.
Came to Salem, Indiana.
Yeah, the power, it kept being very sporadic in where the lights were going to show up. There was one light
They
that,
came-
all of them went off except for the one that's directly over the ring. And then that one went out.
Yeah, it was
and
weird.
then the far edges of the building, those lights started coming on. And it slowly worked its way back to us. Like somebody was back into, the circuit board, just slowly turning them off. And then, slowly just ticking them one at a time.
It's the Wizard of Oz back there or something.
I bet you it was a motherfucking cat.
Oh!
There was a cat at the fucking circuit board turning off the power.
Did he have little headphones on? I hope he did.
It was that piano playing cat from the internet.
Yes!
It was that one, so...
Slam off keyboard cat.
So the lights came back on. We had ourselves a pretty good match. This was fun, and this is special for another reason, right, John?
Yes. So Larry D picked up the victory with the best hand in the house.
You don't say.
And then he did my favorite thing in professional wrestling. He gets the victory, and then he immediately puts over the person who just chopped him.
But, you know, we call that the John Hatfield special on this show because that's your favorite thing. You
Literally
think it's so
my-
funny, you know? But there was a reason for it, you know? I mean,
Yes.
Larry's not going to lose to Mike Roach, and then, you know, because he's on TV, as he tells everybody. And
Impact superstar.
and then, which he's doing a great job on that shit,
Yes.
man. I'm really happy for him. But then he, you know, he put him over because this was Mike Roach's last match, you know? And Mike Roach has been around a while, had done a lot of deathmatch stuff, but he, you know, it was a really cool, special thing for him to, you know, have a match with his brother as his last match, you know? So pretty cool stuff. We got some heartfelt talking, and that was it, right?
It was.
All right. You guys see any of this? You got any comments, questions, concerns?
Like I said, bro, I was seeking refuge from the rain.
I saw like bits and pieces of it, and I saw Mike Roach give Larry a big shoot. Why in the world can I not think of it now?
I like that spot too, Aaron.
It was like a release rock bottom. He just didn't go down with him. I just can't remember what it's
The
called.
Uranagi?
The Uranagi, yeah. He gave me
Jesus.
Uranagi.
Who's the veteran here?
Gosh, not me today. Dang.
Wow.
Luckily, I'm okay.
Well, Aaron's on cloud 9 right now, so
Yeah,
we'll give
that's
him,
true.
we'll give him a little
But
bit.
yeah, Uranagi.
That was cool.
You're
Yeah.
on cloud 9.
They did some great lariat spots in this match too. I mean, it was good stuff, you know.
You know what I was disappointed in?
What's that?
It was a no DQ match, and there was literally no reason to make it a no DQ because there were no chairs, there was no weapons.
Yeah, that's true.
I was ready for it. I was ready for one of these guys to bleed.
There's a chance that maybe they were going to do that, but then like God intervened, and he
They got
was like,
distracted by
"Oh,
the
you
light.
can't,
Yeah,
you
they were
can't
like,
see anything." And
With
they were
a
like,
thunderous roar.
right.
Said, you boys play by the rules.
So what happened after that, John?
This
After
isn't
that-
Nam, Larry D. There are rules. Mark it as 0.
Remember that movie?
Our third match of the night was for the ownership of the Road from Home podcast. It was for the ownership of the Road Home from Wrestling podcast. It was current owner, well, one half of the current owners, Austin Tyler Morris, ATM, with Nikki Campbell going against He Is Danger, right? Did I get that right?
Yeah.
I'm multiple things.
Would you like
Not
to go
just
down
Danger.
your list of titles and accolades?
Yeah, if you want me to.
Don't call him Chaz.
Don't call me Chaz. That's
What's
one
that
thing that you definitely don't want to
That's
do.
one of his OG gimmicks.
I mean, I can go through the whole list if you want me to, but that's going to take a minute.
No, let's not do that.
All right.
And then Aaron Williams was his opponent.
So now, Aaron, you're a former owner. In fact, you were the first one to wrench the company away from the original owner, which was Maxwell Jacob Freeman, who's
Yeah.
super famous now. You
Yeah,
know?
he was.
And,
Another guy that I beat that is now on TV.
It's
making
true.
stuff
There's
up.
a long list of those folks.
I choked him out of a random.
It's kind of upsetting, to be honest with you. But
Is that your gimmick? You like beat people and then they get signed?
yes,
That is
yes.
100% his gimmick,
That is-
actually.
yes, or they get a tryout or something, you know. Man, that match you had with that bald dude was really good.
Let's sign you.
Hey, brother, I sent a message that we had to so-and-so, and it was our match, and they're giving me a tryout. Cool, bro. This is only the 87th time that's happened.
Well, this is one of the big reasons why we were there. This was not the original match. We had some hashtag speaking out shenanigans that happened that kind of messed up the card. But, man, it's messed up a lot of people's lives, so that's awful. And that's one of the big reasons why the podcast is kind of ending. But we had one big last hurrah that we wanted to have. And, you know, Chad French was nice enough to let us do that at Pawcade, which was very cool of him. And, you know, ATM has been kind of a son of a bitch as an owner. You know, he calls me yelling all the time. He makes me come into meetings at 8 a.m. And then I get there and there's a note on the door that says that it's canceled. You know, he's done.
You drive 2 hours down to the meeting.
He's done that to me like 6 times. It's fucking bullshit. And sometimes he makes me come down there and just job to him in Madden for no reason. Like, he's just come in, you know, him and Taggart just play against me in Madden and make me lose. And
They've never paid me.
No. Yeah, well, I never got paid either.
Wow.
But, you know.
Well, who are they paying then? Are they just keeping all the money to themselves?
Oh, yes, they're keeping all of the money, you know.
I know the podcast is a real lucrative
Oh, man,
company.
so much. So much money. You guys wouldn't even believe how much money. And, you know, and I'm happy for them. I mean, ATM was able to buy a house with it. He's, you know, he's going to get married to Nikki Campbell, I'm sure.
He was able to buy an engagement ring.
Yeah, yeah. So all this is, you know, due to the podcast. So that's great for him. However, Aaron, you were there to kind of take it back. Why did you want to own the Road Home from Wrestling podcast again?
Well, I think you just said everything that that needs to be said. Their ownership obviously was not good, but since I owned the Road Home from Wrestling podcast, I enjoyed it and I had a good time. And you guys are my dudes, and I always had a good time with you. And since I've had a new lease on life recently, I figure, you know what? It's time to put some things back that I probably never should have lost. So
that's true.
It's a good.
Fair enough.
It's a good way to end this out, I think.
Yeah. Well, I really like that. It's pretty good. Now, you know, Lord Crewe, you don't really have a dog in this fight necessarily, but, you know, I mean, where was your, you know, heart lying in all this, and how do you feel about what's happened?
Well, Aaron's sitting within arm's reach of me, so I'm going to say that I really hope that he won, and I'm glad that he did.
He's within kicking distance of you, so.
Yeah.
He can
No,
kick-
yeah, but no, I would go for Aaron all the way on this. I mean, we're Kung Fury. Why wouldn't I?
That's
Exactly.
true. That's true.
We tagged together one time, and it was magic, and I'd
It
like to do
was.
it again.
It was a lot of fun.
Great.
Well, John, tell us, I mean, you got some notes from the match. I know you were trying to help ATM. I wasn't, but you really wanted to help him. I don't know why.
Well, I had a custom made.
Wow. Wow.
I had a custom made shirt made for this match.
Very nice.
Basically, I just cut up an ATM shirt and then like glued it to the Aaron Williams shirt in reverse in
Very
between
nice.
their two names.
It's like that guy from Barstool that wears the jersey that's like cut in half.
Yeah.
Like,
So that's basically what it was. It was real nice. My mom did a good job in the 20 minutes I gave her to figure something out.
It's like, I have some
I
fabric
still
in it.
feel so bad that she burned her finger on the hot glue gun.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
but,
not
you know.
nice.
But she did it for the greater good.
She did.
The
She knew how
greater
important
good.
this was. Oh, but yeah, ATM, like before the show started, he came out to me and he gave me this jar of petroleum jelly that was half used.
did?
I don't know what's up with that.
What's
Like
he
I figured
using
it would be like a new one, but yeah,
Nope,
yeah,
you get the old used.
And you
boy.
gave it back to him later, too.
Yeah.
So,
And
he
so
took that
when
with
he
him.
came out, he was, just showboating and really getting into the crowd.
Hot dog.
Doing all the grandstanding and hot dog.
He was hot dog.
And he came over to me and he said, "Hey man, I need you to give me some protection." So I put some jelly on his eyebrows. I asked if he wanted any on his nipples.
Yeah.
He said no.
That's weird.
Remember that time I kicked his dad in the face?
Yeah. I got a picture of that. That's
That
good
was
stuff.
awesome.
His dad's awesome, man.
And then
Good dude.
I kicked him in the face.
and they brought like a triceratops with him.
That was Muda Frog, is what it was.
Okay, I don't know.
It was a Triceratops, but he calls it Muda Frog. And this is a frog that is wearing a Great Muda shirt. So, and we had seen some videos of ATM attacking this thing and maybe having sex with it. We're not sure.
Yeah, we're
maybe
not-
that's what the
we're not
Vaseline's
sure,
for.
yeah.
We're not sure.
Yeah.
We mind our own business when it comes to that, and we
that
don't
was
kink
why
shame.
it had
So.
a bit of a crispiness to it when I picked it up.
Yeah, could be.
Yeah.
Could be. But yeah, I mean, this was a lot of fun. And Aaron, this was hokey pokey the match, right?
I mean, I didn't really expect it to be, but he came in all thinking about being a judo master or something, which, I mean, I'm not even sure he knows how to spell judo, but his technique wasn't really all that great.
Well, he called it Morris Martial Arts, and he said that he was the master of that.
Well, he
And
may
then-
be.
Well, it sounds like he's the creator of it as well.
Yeah, it sounds made up.
Yeah,
you know,
I'm pretty
it sounds
sure it
like
is.
some bullshit that he just made up.
How dare you guys say that was made up?
Disrespect the ancient art of Morris. Fucking Morris.
I know, it's got a
Martial arts.
lineage of
Morris Jitsu.
at least 2 week lineage.
Well, now
With
let's not
such great fighters as Austin Tyler
Yes.
Morris.
Now,
and that's it.
Nikki Campbell probably knows it too, you know.
Yeah.
And let's not forget that she was dressed like a Christmas ornament, you know, a very nice one. So she looked awesome.
Yeah, she had some new ring gear.
She looked
good.
like she took or she made her gear from insect wings.
Yeah.
Oh.
That was pretty neat. So, you know, there was a woman in the crowd who really did
man.
not like ATM.
No, she did not.
And they didn't even have to do anything. They were like, we're trying to get heat over here. We didn't have to do anything. And this lady is screaming at them.
All she had to do was like stand in
I
front
don't
of her.
know you.
Yes.
Fuck you.
Pretty much.
Like, I didn't really have to do anything in that whole
I
scenario.
hate you.
Like,
I hate you.
all right.
I don't even know you, and I hate your guts.
Now, Aaron, you
All the
said
bad things in life happen to you, and no one but you.
you had said that you made it work on the ropes doing your entrance, but ATM had a little bit of a problem, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Which, you know, most people who have any type of martial arts knowledge realize real quick how balance works. And I'm afraid poor Austin Tyler Morris must have missed that class at the Morris
listen.
Martial Arts.
Apparently, that is just an untrained, you know, what's the word I'm looking for?
I don't know.
I don't know, but I'm gonna go with my point. Is the ropes were real loosey goosey, okay?
They were.
I give ATM a break,
But I
because
did.
of how loose they were.
But I did it.
But you have like 10 more years experience in the ring, and so maybe you're used to working with
you
like
felt too old.
You're used to loose ropes, and he's not. Like he's used to like sturdy, strong ropes.
Is that how they are? In
Also,
other
so
places?
what you're saying is I'm better.
No, I'm just saying.
I think that's
probably
what that sounds like, right?
Well, I think the result of the match told that story.
Yeah.
I think that ATM just bit off a little too much for like to chew. Like he wasn't able to, you know, he crotched himself. He hurt his testes a little bit.
Guess he put the Vaseline in
We
the
asked if he needed some petroleum jelly. He didn't. But it was there. I offered you some, and you wouldn't take any.
Well, I didn't feel like I needed it.
Yeah, you were like, what? No.
Why would I want this?
The match was a lot of fun. Thank you so much to Chad French and everybody at Paradigm for letting us do that. It was a lot of fun. You know, John, any other comments about the match, or can we get to the finish here?
I just want to say thank you, ATM, for hitting a baby cutter on Aaron.
Yeah.
It just wasn't enough because, like I said, Aaron's been in the biz like 10 more years than you, buddy. And so it happens. But thanks, Aaron, for being our new boss.
Yeah, so
You're
Aaron
welcome.
won. That's
Yeah.
what the result was.
You guys are gonna get pensions now.
You kicked him in the head. We're going to get pensions? Oh, my God. No one gets pensions anymore. That's amazing. I quit right now. Oh, wait. I am quitting. Yes. Awesome. Wow. I can retire on my pension. So,
They
well,
put those air quotes down.
well, the point is that we wanted to have an end to the road home story. You know, we bitch all the time about how stories always begin in wrestling, but they never end. So this is, a nice ending for the road home story. It began with Aaron in a lot of ways, and it ends with Aaron in a lot of ways. So, it's a nice fairy tale ending, and I really appreciate everyone who was involved, and, it was a lot of fun. You got any comments or questions or concerns there, John?
No, I think I'm ready to get straight into our next
What
match.
was the number?
It was the Loyal
Who won this?
Battle Royal.
Who won this?
Big D eliminated Big Cum, and that was the match.
Oh my God, Big D and Big Cum.
Wow.
I feel like Big Cum just kind of, goes hand in hand with a Big D.
Yeah,
Big
that's
D
true.
just got the Big Cum out of the ring.
This match was kind of a mess.
Did
It
he
was
explode out of the ring, or did he just kind of just fall out?
Did he kind of just...
It was an
Oh,
explosive.
drizzle, all right.
It was an explosive.
Oh,
for
you
sure.
Well, that's gross. But cum talk on the road home from wrestling. But he's
It's a staple.
it is sometimes. There's there's a lot of people in this match, like 40 or something crazy like that. So
Yikes.
we're not going to talk about what happened in the match. It kind of took too long. Just my opinion, But man, it was something else. And
It was cool to see a couple NWF guys in there.
Yeah, that's true.
There's a couple of different students. We had Zachary Slater was in
Oh,
there.
you got
Chris
notes on this, huh?
Demise,
Okay.
Kobe Kane was in there.
He was. Yeah. We were sitting with Elizabeth too.
And we sat with Elizabeth.
Yeah, it was really fun. I like her.
She was on her meds, and so I
Yes.
really appreciated that.
Yeah, she wasn't acting.
Ella
crazy.
was nowhere to be seen, and I was like, "This is great." We can actually talk and have a normal conversation with this chick.
This chick.
There was also
Nice.
Icon.
Oh, I was just not gonna
yeah,
include
we don't.
him, but
yeah,
okay.
he's blocked. But yeah, okay. So that was one thing that happened. What was the next thing that happened, John?
Your favorite part of the show?
Single intermission. It was like 45 minutes long. It's way too long, but hey, man, you know, it was a lot of fun. We got to hang out, talk to all kinds of people. You know who you are if we talk to you. It's good stuff. What happened next, John?
It was our dog food or 5 minutes in the ring with Ben match.
Yeah, Papa Kenway, man.
They, Papa Kenway and Ben each had representatives.
Yes.
Ben's representative was Matt Atreyu.
Yes.
And Papa Kenway's was Low-Key Havoc.
That's right. And Matt Atreyu was his last match, too.
It was.
Man, everybody's just quitting.
It's a night of retirement.
I know. So who won this one?
Low-Key Havoc won with the schoolboy.
Now, let's talk about the real story here. John, you got to eat some of Papa Kenway's wings tonight.
did.
What do you think? Let's talk about the wings.
They
Woo!
That's
well,
sorry.
okay,
That was my reaction to the
Lord-
wings. Them
Lord
things are
Crewe,
damn
let me
good.
speak my...
We'll get to your... Yeah, Lord Crewe, you're all over John's shit. You're stepping
It's
on
like-
his big D up here.
It's like I'm in the car with Dean right now.
Dean's all over that.
Papa Kenway's food was delicious.
Yeah?
It's been hyped up for a really long time, and those wings got all in my beard because they were so good that I just tried to dig in to get all the meat off, and I did get all that meat off.
Calls that a beard.
Crew, how did you like Papa Kenway's?
Well, there we go. That's how that works.
Those wings were fantastic. And that sauce was all up in my mustache.
Nice.
Because
yeah.
mine's actually worth a shit.
Jesus
Christ.
Aaron, any comments
So
on
much.
this?
Coming at me hot.
It's good stuff, man.
Yeah.
I love Papa Kenway, though, man. Everything the man does is gold.
He's great.
I mean,
man.
except for
really
his son. His son's kind of got some issues, but
Yeah, he's
Where
kind
was
of
his son?
He's kind of a dick. You know, I don't know.
I thought his son was there, but it turns out it was somebody else.
It was Nolan Edwards. That's pretty funny. Well, okay, so that match happened, and then go ahead.
Then Ben got egg on his face. He got his comeuppance.
He did. So why don't you carry me here for a minute? We got a interchange coming up here, and I don't want to take a wrong turn tonight. You know.
So after the match, basically, all the wrestlers, they beat up on Ben. Papa Kenway came in, put him in a sleeper choker, and he, passed out.
Sleeper choker.
Yeah, and he said, "You a bitch."
He did.
And then Ben would not leave ringside, so they had to call in Chad French to bring in some reinforcements, which were his children.
That's right. That was fun.
And the kids beat up on Ben, and then Chad hit the most devastating chair shot I've ever seen in my entire life. I've seen Mick Foley take chair shots unprotected.
Yes.
But those all pale in comparison to this one.
Somewhere, Lance Storm's ear twitched a little bit. He was like, "Oh my God, someone's taking my shit." So, and Aaron, I will give you some cash on the way home because I am going toll road. So that's what we're doing.
all right.
Hey, before we get to the next match, can I tell a quick story about intermission that's really funny and I
Sure.
think you guys will appreciate it?
Sure, let's hear it.
So I was back at the old merch table and Effie had some 8x10s and on one of them there was I don't know where he was, but there was a neon sign that was just a penis.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Hovering over his head. So while we're standing there, some couple with I don't know, the girl was probably 8 or 9 years old. They come walking up to the table. So Effie, trying to be a good brother, puts his hand over the penis so the little girl doesn't see it. And the little girl's mom says, "It's all right, she can't read." And Effie and I just looked at each other like, "Are you fucking kidding me right now?" She can't read dick.
She can't read.
Oh my God.
Amazing. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Thanks for that. So what happened?
But it's fine, she can't read.
What happened after the dick, John?
Our next match was a #1 contendership for the PPW Championship. That match will take place immediately following this one.
Yeah.
It was Nolan Edwards taking on his dog, man, Sean Kemp.
This was one of the best matches of the night. This is really good. Nolan Edwards has this gigantic chip on his shoulder.
I like
I like it, man. He's got this attitude about him, man. He's somebody that is on the rise, you know. Would not be shocked to see him showing up other places, and he's kind of already doing that. So, you know, Sean Kemp's a dog, and he's also a really good wrestler. So these guys had a good one, you know.
Yeah, I was really looking forward to this match because, like you guys already said, Nolan Edwards is like, he's legit.
Yeah, for sure.
So I was excited to see another match because I don't get to see him that often.
That's true.
Because we're in a pandemic and I don't get to see any wrestling very often.
That is fair. Yeah, so who won?
Nolan Edwards picked up the victory with a running lariat.
Lariato, that's right. And then we immediately had Cole Radrick's music hit. He came out with the Paradigm Heavyweight Championship, and he defended it, and they had another great match. You know, it was really good stuff. I heard Larry D was sitting behind us, and I heard him say, he said, you know, Cole understands timing. And he said, not moves. He understands how to give stuff space to breathe, you know? And that's something that when we first saw Cole, he did not understand that at all, you know? And, man, he has really slowed down to a just beautiful, independent wrestling tempo. And every time I see him, he's fine-tuning all that shit all the time. And it's just like, man, Cole is one of the best guys out there. I love him.
And he's always coming up, I think, with new creative-looking moves.
Yes.
There wasn't necessarily any on this show, but I saw one from like a show a couple weeks ago where I don't even know how to describe it. Basically, like had the guy on the backside and then somehow rolled him around to the front and like had their arm tucked behind their back and did some like suplex to him. I was like, holy shit, I don't know what that is.
It's really
But it
neat,
looks awesome.
you know? Yeah, he's been kind of getting over on these GCW shows, which a lot of people are. And that's good. I'm really happy for Cole. I wish him all the success in the world. He's one of the good ones.
Yeah, and I kind of thought that this match was going to be just a real quick squash match.
Yeah, me too.
And it, like, for a second there, I thought Nolan Edwards was going to squash Cole because he hit him with another one of those running lariatos, that he took out Sean Kemp with, and it wasn't good enough though.
That's true. Yeah, Cole gets the win with the Little Sebastian's Curse, I believe. And what was the next match, Sean?
Our next match was a ladder match for the Midwest Territory.com Championship.
I heard somebody died.
Yeah, Lord Crewe was in this match, and you got killed. Lord Crewe, what happened?
Clearly, I didn't get killed because I'm here still talking about it.
Brother, I've been dead for years. You can be dead.
No,
It's
well,
true.
You know, well, I guess I've been dead for about an hour then. Yeah. Hour and a half. Dude.
Should I say give a rundown of who was in this match? Because there's
Yes.
there's 19 people here.
Yeah.
Bradley Prescott IV, James Bundy, Freddie Hudson,
James Bandy.
Well, I say I have Bundy on here. Zay Washington, Lord Crewe, Flash Thompson, and Dusk. Formulation number, it doesn't matter.
That was pretty funny. Yeah,
Some dickhead in a gimp mask.
Yeah.
With a zipper mouth.
he did have a zipper mouth, and
Those are
man.
handy.
Oh, they are.
Yeah.
Okay. You
If
would
you-
care to elaborate on that?
When you want to tell someone to shut up, you just should zip the mouth shut.
I kind of wish I had a zipper on my COVID mask. You know, that'd be kind
You
of
could
cool.
put straws in there and just take a little sip-ski real
There
quick.
you go.
Yeah.
Sipski, Strawski, all that. You know.
There was a guy
All the
walking
skis.
around with a lucha mask on. Like, he had his nose covered, but his mouth wasn't covered. And I think he doesn't understand the
Unacceptable.
concept of wearing a mask. He just thought, oh, I'll throw this lucha mask on, and I'm good. But I
Yeah.
can still see your mouth, sir. You're still breathing COVID germs on you.
Olay. But he just olays them, you know.
See?
Yes.
But yes, so this match, it happened.
It sure did.
It was your first ladder match, right?
Yeah, it was my first ladder match, my first match back after being out for 4 months due to COVID.
How'd it go? Tell us about
Tell
it.
us about it, bro.
I think it was really fun. I almost died. Well, actually, maybe I did die, and I'm just dead for an hour or so.
Can you describe how you died?
So I gave old Bradley Prescott IV a burning hammer through a door.
You gave him a burning hammer through a door.
Bradley Prescott is also
He is also dead.
Yeah, well,
No,
Bradley Prescott's a dumb shit. Well, maybe it's just he's drunk. I don't know.
Yes,
But
yes.
he thought he was going to reach that championship from a box of beer. Like, brother, you ain't that tall. I maybe could have got away with that, but not you, bro.
It's called liquid courage.
So he was drunk, distracted, and was doing his thing, which gave me more than enough time to, I was like,
set up house.
set up house, and then I just kind of plucked him off the case of beer and gave him the old burning hammer through
The old burning hammer, no big deal, just giving you a burning hammer,
Well,
huh?
he didn't kick out, did
So
he?
then,
No.
after nailing brother was such a huge move, I'm like, I got this in the bag. So I go and
Makes sense.
I get the ladder, I start to make my ascent, and well, whatever the hell, dickhead with the mask, whatever
Dusk,
his
I believe his name was.
Dusk, fucking number 86 or whatever. Well, he pulls me down by the foot, pop him in the mouth, hit the old orange crush, and again, I'm thinking I'm walking
You're on
on Easy
fire,
Street.
man.
I'm all fired up.
Yeah.
I turn around and get smoked with half the door that I just gave old brother a burning hammer through.
He no-sold the orange Fanta.
So
That's
then,
unacceptable.
I get smoked by this door, and I'm, trying to shake off the blow from the door. I look up, and it's Chase fucking Holiday.
Well, he's back from the dead.
Now,
Dead man walking.
speaking of dead,
Speaking of dead
Yes.
people, I thought the motherfucker died. So after I moved my hand away from my forehead after just getting blasted by this door, I see just a momentary glimpse of Chase Holiday, and he throws this disgusting lariat, which sends me flipping all kind of weird ways, head first into a ladder that's on its side.
Oh my God.
Apparently, my neck went between the rungs of the ladder, and my feet touched my head. The back of my feet touched my head. I scorpioned myself.
Did you know you were that flexible?
I will learn today. But
we thought you were dead, and we're very glad you were not.
apparently a lot of other people did too.
We saw you give the Iggy, and we were like, oh, thank goodness, because, man, we were like, oh, my God.
What is this Iggy?
First of all, my first thought was, I hope he's okay, and then I also was like, oh, my God, we're never going to leave Salem, ever.
To be fair, my neck feels okay, but my lower back is starting to feel.
Yeah, I think you're
I
gonna
think
have a
it's
rough
just
day
from where
tomorrow.
I folded in half.
Yeah, tomorrow's
Yeah.
going to be a rough day, bro.
Hey man, I was expecting it though. Like I said, first match back in 4 months, and it was a ladder match. I knew my body was gonna hate me tomorrow, so it's fine.
It was awesome. You guys did a great job. John, you got any comments?
BP4 did one of my favorite spots, which I gotta make sure I say it correctly. It was the Terry Funk spot,
Yes.
not the Bubba Ray Dudley spot.
Correct, yes.
Which is my
a Terry
generation.
Funk. Yeah, it's a Terry Funk.
The Terry Funk spot where he puts the ladder on his neck and just starts whomping everybody.
And Terry Funk's from all generations, so, I mean, it doesn't matter what generation you're from, Terry Funk's wrestling, so,
Not my generation.
Well, your generation sucks.
yeah.
Because Terry Funk's one of the goats.
He is a goat. He is the man. But yeah, so who ended up winning? How'd this shake out here?
Chase Holiday snuck up that ladder and ripped the whole thing down, sending the plate to the ground.
The brand new title broke it immediately. Jesus
Had
Christ.
the chain in hand.
Did that happen?
Yes.
I didn't, I
Yes.
didn't realize that happened. I was too busy making sure I wasn't dead.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Aaron, tell us about this title. What was this thing look like?
It looked like, well, I would imagine if Flava Flav was a wrestler, this is what he would do with his championship.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was like if Quentin Rampage Jackson met Flava Flav.
If it told time and was a title, I think Flavor Flav would be more,
He would have been
I mean,
in that
that's
match.
be 100% accurate, but you're not. You're right on the money though. It's like a giant necklace, and it's pretty hefty duty, and it's very unique. It's not necessarily my favorite thing in the world, but man, it is different, and I do appreciate that.
Yeah.
Sweet myself.
And the championship can be used.
Sorry.
The championship can be used at any time for any championship at Paradigm Pro Wrestling.
Oh, so it's kind of like a Money in the Bank deal, right?
Yes.
kind of,
But it's
without a
But it's a
briefcase
championship
or a-
in itself.
Well, and without a stupid name, so which is much appreciated. I don't know how many times I complained about the opportunity or the golden ticket or whatever the fuck. How many goddamn golden tickets are there in independent wrestling?
A golden ticket.
Yeah, fuck Grandpa Joe, piece of shit.
Yeah, Grandpa Joe was a fucking piece of shit.
was
Can we
a
talk
piece
about
of
that for
shit.
a hot second?
I would love to, because all four of those
Hey.
grandparents were pieces of
Hey,
shit.
Well, hold on. At
hold
least
on.
the other ones stayed in their fucking lane. Grandpa Joe laid around in a bed while his family was starving to fucking death for Lord knows how long. Then the second Charlie gets to go tour a factory. That motherfucker's hopping up happier than a son of a bitch, like he just did a fucking rail of coke off the bedpost, and he's all dancing around and shit like, bro, you couldn't have done that and went to a fucking job.
Grandpa Joe, what is with that?
And instead, they're just fucking drinking cabbage water to fucking survive.
They are. They're like eating shoe soup or something.
Because Grandpa Joe won't get off his ass and go to Walmart and be a greeter like every other respectable old person who can still work.
It's true.
Even though they don't want to.
Fuck you, Grandpa Joe.
God.
Where are we at?
Yeah,
We
you're
are
real
on to
hero,
our-
Grandpa Joe. Chase Holiday rose from the dead and won. So
Yes, he did. He did.
I died.
And our next match was for the Tuesdays at 6 Championship, which was just a 2002 Undisputed Championship WWE title.
But Aaron, you have been involved in the Tuesdays at 6 thing, right?
Yes.
What is it? Tell us.
Essentially, they're kind of like training sessions for anybody who wants to train to get better, to learn a little bit from other people.
Is that how you get better?
Yeah, I mean that's one of the ways I guess you can get better.
That's good.
They occasionally have different people come in to teach classes and everything like that, and they usually have kind of like mock matches at the end of the night. Like after they do like a class or whatever, they may have like a couple of matches.
Nice. And so you've been one of the teachers a few times,
Yes, I
right?
have.
That's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, I'm
And so, yeah, two of the standout students were The Deal, Adam Slade, bald dude for life, and Billy Starks. And so they had themselves a match, and it was real damn good.
Yep.
John?
I didn't pay attention. I'm sorry, guys.
I was nursing a broken neck.
Were you thinking about Grandpa Joe?
You and I watched it though, so and I will concur. It was good.
Yeah, Lord,
I
was really
I
upset
was
about
thinking,
Grandpa.
like, hey guys, I was there for 7.5 hours at this point. And I was
Yes,
like,
we had been there a long
I
time.
was ready to go.
Yeah. I thought it was really good. They had, clearly worked on this for a while and did some really cool shit. Billy Starks is definitely a prodigy, and like, I think she's gonna be real. She's gonna be really something. I mean,
I personally think she's the next big thing in women's wrestling.
there's
Absolutely.
no doubt. And so
And Mouse is my dad, so by proxy, that makes her my sister. So I'm really proud of my sister.
there you go. There you go.
Shout out to my dad, Mouse.
Now, speaking of Mouse, I did a little joke on Mouse, and he, of course, ruined the joke by not ever letting me tell it. So, I'm going to tell it now.
Oh, typical dad.
So, Mouse is a frustrating individual, but I love Mouse. He's a great dude. He's helped us quite a bit. And a couple months ago, I got these stickers printed up from Sticker Mule, which is a great place. I love them. And they are a picture of him, and it just says resting mouse face underneath it. And I thought it was so funny. I'm like, oh man, this is great. But I didn't tell anybody until Pawcade came around. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to pass these out and give them to everybody. So that's what I did. But I gave him one in an envelope, and he never fucking opened it. And I don't think he ever even saw anyone with these stickers. So my joke didn't land. So thanks, Mouse. You ruined another joke and just no-sold me for one last time. So good job, buddy.
Still love you, Dad.
Yeah, fucker. So that was a really cool match. And who got the win, John?
Neither of them? Both of them?
Yeah,
I don't know.
They both win. Never lost, right?
Yeah,
Hashtag never lost. Big Starks brand.
Both shoulders were down, and so the ref counted to 3 instead of saying, hey, what did you guys' shoulders are both down?
Is that what refs sound like?
Yeah.
Okay.
Have you never talked to a ref?
Oh yeah, I have. They do
Hey,
sound
your
like that.
shoulders are down. Pretty good.
We had referee Aaron there tonight. We have referee Sean P. We had referee Max Recon. It was really good to see all of them. And then we had other referees. We had referees in the crowd that weren't even reffing.
Yeah.
Scotty was there, So, I mean,
He didn't know he was at a wrestling show.
He just doesn't know, man.
It's fair. It's fair. I mean, there's just a lot of refs now.
He didn't even know there was a show going on.
There was some kid sitting across from us just wearing a ref shirt. Did you see that?
I mean, some people have dreams, and he dreams of being a ref one day.
That's fucking weird. That's a bad dream right there,
Don't
But
shit on the refs like that. They're just as important as anybody.
are they?
You can't really have a match without them.
Of course, I know that.
You can't have a match with him.
Way to ruin the fun, Crew.
I just really wanted to say that, in defense of Aaron and Sean and
We've
Max
always
Recon.
said nice
Fuck
things about
Scotty.
Yeah,
But
yeah, that's
the
right.
rest of them I wanted to, at least defend.
That's true.
Fuck you, Scotty.
What happened after that, John?
After that, we had a match for the Luchaverso Championship?
What?
I guess. I thought it was a non-title match now. I thought it was just a match. Effie versus Calvin Tankman.
Yeah. Now, this is the first time I've ever seen Effie live. I've seen Calvin Tankman a million times, of course, and he is tremendous. This match was awesome. You know, you guys got a chance to see any of this?
I saw pretty much all of it.
I didn't actually.
I
was
also-
impressed.
I mean,
I
I-
caught the tail end. But that's it.
I had to watch it because I gotta steal that jacket.
Yeah.
Gotta steal.
Well, I saw a picture of you on
jacket.
Twitter with Effie's jacket.
Yeah, I got caught before I got to get it.
Well, that's a shame. I'm sorry.
See it, man.
Yeah, that jacket's the kind of jacket where if you hug somebody with it, they start bleeding and maybe
Oh,
die.
yeah,
It's the
bad.
Iron Maiden of jackets.
I love it. I want it.
Okay.
I want to cause pain. Anyway, the match was real good.
John, what's your first impressions of Effie?
I thought that his entrance was very arousing.
Did you get a boner?
I cannot confirm nor deny.
Neon cooler.
He had that jar of Vaseline there. I just
ATM, you
could
know,
have rubbed one out real quick.
ATM left me a big glob of it, so
I love that term, rubbed one out. That's pretty funny. It's just accurate. You know what I mean? It's just very accurate.
It's just rough one.
And that's really, I mean, it's the nail on the head.
well, I did not rub one out during this match, just for the record.
Be a lot cooler.
Where would I have put it? The sawdust in front of me?
I mean, it would have just acted like
yeah,
kitty
it would've-
litter. I mean, they
would've
throw
done
that shit on
anything.
car accidents, and I'm sure it would have been very similar watching you rub one out.
Welcome back to Cum
It would
Talk.
have just been like a fucking car accident. You don't want to look, but you can't help it.
Oh, man. That's amazing.
People just walk by like, what's that smell over here?
It smells like bleach.
Is it those trees? that
No,
are out
oh,
there?
you guys have been doing some sanitizing over here. Very good, very good. Carry on.
Really
Thank you so
appreciate the
much.
cleanliness.
Oh, man. Well, you know, Effie is a tremendous wrestler, you know, so is Calvin Tankman. So, you know, you put these two guys together, they're going to have a great match that could be main event anywhere, you know. So it was really good. All the cliches apply. John, any comments about it before we move on?
No, I don't have it.
Who won?
Calvin Tankman won with a Tankman driver out of nowhere.
He's a tank,
Man, that's right.
Hey, it's okay, Effie. She can't read.
Dick. So, now we're going to move on to the main event. However, we are not going to spoil the main event because this show will be on IWTV at some point, and, you know, all the proceeds from this show will go to the animal shelter. So if you continue to watch it on IWTV, Chad will donate that money to the animal shelter. So, but who was in the main event, John?
Our main event was an Amish street fight. It was pitting.
It was actually an Amish gravel road fight.
That's true.
It was John Wayne Murdoch taking on the friendliest guy in pro wrestling, the man who makes birdhouses by hand, I hear, Levi Everett.
That's right. And, you know, this match was awesome, but we're not spoiling the main event. We're not going to do that. Nice try. I see you out there.
Look
You're
at
like,
the big
oh,
brain on you.
yeah, I know what's up. And, you know, so you guys need to watch this match. Just know that it was tremendous. It had so many cool things going on with it, I can't even tell you about them. That's
blood.
how awesome it was. Oh, yeah.
Broken stuff.
And we were nervous about the action coming towards us, so, like, you might not see us because we were hiding from the action.
That's
'cause
true.
We were
That's
scared
true.
that we were going to get hit with one of those birdhouses that had all the thumbtacks on it.
John, you brought your birdhouses, huh?
I did. I gave them to Levi before the show started and said, hey, buddy, I think you should use these. And he said, they're hard to break. We'll see.
Yeah, he did tell me that before he went out there.
These
So
are
I
hard
wanted to ask him about the sturdiness of his craftsmanship, and he told me stories about people trying to break it, and they just
It's
couldn't.
Amish made, man.
Well, I
can't
don't want
break
you to
that
be
shit.
fooled. Those
Quality shit.
birdhouses that I made those with actually came from Michael's. I just don't want anyone to be fooled.
Okay.
So
Levi-
Michael made those. Michael who?
Scott.
Michael with a apostrophe S.
Oh. Is that like his last name?
Yeah.
So is it
Michael-
Shawn Michaels?
Michael
Michael
S.
Hickenbottom.
Michael S. made them.
Oh, okay. Well, Michael S. I'm sure that stands for something. He's another Amish dude.
Yeah.
It was great stuff. And Pawcade was a lot of fun. It was very, very long. There was a lot of talking, and that's my only kind of negative thing about it. But it was awesome, and it was so much fun to see all those people for kind of one last time. I don't know. I really enjoyed it. Do you guys have any comments about the show before we kind of wrap up the road home from wrestling?
You go.
So, like I said, for me, it was great because it was my first time back in a ring since the beginning of the pandemic. It allowed me to feel normal again, so that was great. I got to see a lot of my friends that were on this show, so it was a very good experience for me from just a mental health standpoint.
Yeah, I
So,
can imagine, man.
Like I said, it was nice to see a lot of the guys again. It felt really good to be out entertaining again and just feeling normal for once. And I also wanted to give a big shout out to Chad and Paradigm for putting this on and helping the animals. So, and I'm glad that I could be a part of assisting and helping of the animals.
Sweet.
These dogs are the coolest thing ever.
They are. And that fucking piano cat messing with the lights.
Yeah, that cat was tight. I'm not a big cat person, but that one was pretty cool.
Okay, get him off the fucking lights. That's ridiculous. Aaron, any thoughts about Pawcade before we kind of wrap all this up?
I had a wonderful time. I was really, really happy to see a lot of my brothers and sisters in the ring and stuff. And many people we haven't got to see or talk to or embrace or even be a part of their lives for months. In a lot of ways, the way everything has gone, you kind of thought that maybe you never would again. So it was really nice to see some people and be around something we all love that we could try to be positive about with Pawcade and helping the animals, because who doesn't love a puppy?
Yeah.
How can you not love a puppy? I know my puppy has helped me get through a lot of this junk, as I know Cruz has.
Oh, Halford is the best boy. Shout out to Halford.
And it was nice. It was nice to be there. It was great to be there. And again, thank you, Paradigm and Chad, for putting on such a good event. But also being with my dudes, riding up here and now riding home is something I can honestly say is something I desperately need and want in my life. So, yeah.
Okay, well that's good shit. Now, John, we received a message from legendary Gary B. It's real long, but man, it's pretty cool. Would you regale us with the message that legendary Gary B sent us about just kind of things wrapping up and all that?
I will. I'm very nervous to read out loud. It's like one of those terrifying things from elementary school where the teacher calls on you. I'm going to do my best, all right?
Well, you're going to get
Today, Junior.
You're going to get graded on this, and if you fuck it up, I don't know what's going to happen.
The boss might fire me.
I might quit the podcast if you fuck it up. So.
All right, legendary Gary B says, "Thank you for riding along on our journey through independent wrestling while hanging out with some friends. I didn't expect this to have so much success, and without you, our listeners, and the support you have given us, success would not have been attainable. I will not say this is the end, but more of a lengthy intermission. Think of it as the time independent shows need to put up the cage. Throughout this journey,
It's a long time sometimes.
throughout this journey, we have been able to watch some great wrestlers work at achieving their goals while helping some extend their reach. Lexus and Aaron and many others are internationally known, and hopefully we help put them on the radar of the places that we allow them more exposure. Andy, John, and Dean, I want to say thank you for allowing me to join you guys, watch some wrestling with my friends, and laugh many, many times. To our supporters, thank you for following along. Until we ride again, much love, legendary Gary B.
There you go.
Yeah!
The legend of Gary B.
Pretty great, awful nice of him. Gary's been a big part of this, and someone we forgot, I failed to mention on the last episode is Justin and Ralph.
Oh, my boys.
Yeah, I was going to say, Lord Crewe, can you tell us about
Yeah.
Justin and Ralph, please?
Justin and Ralph are two of the most genuine, wonderful human beings that I have ever had the pleasure of meeting. They are my boys. Whenever there's been a couple times that they've just popped up at shows without giving me a heads up, and I am just as excited to see them as they are to see me. And like I said, they've just been two of my biggest supporters for a multitude of reasons. And they're just great dudes. And, it bums me out that I haven't got to see him in a while with the way that the world is, but I'm hoping that changes soon. Like, I'd love to, get with those dudes and hang out and, catch up, shoot the breeze a little bit.
And okay.
Yeah, whatever. But Justin and Ralph, you two are two of my favorite dudes, and I'm very fortunate that this podcast allowed us to become friends.
For real, I will second that, and I will also go ahead and thank you guys because you've always supported me, even in just going to shows or buying T-shirts or just honestly put me over on Twitter or just overall encouragement in general. And I'm very, very grateful to you and the work that you did for the podcast for a while there was obviously wonderful and greatly appreciated.
Justin and Ralph are the funniest people to ever live, too, by the way.
So good.
And so, if you're not familiar with who we're talking about because you're, just recently started listening or something like that, they were the Indiana chapter of the Road Home from Wrestling for about a year.
Yeah.
And they released several episodes, an episode a week, almost every week. And they're fucking some of the funniest episodes you'll ever hear. They are so funny. And there's even episodes sometimes where it's me, Justin, and Ralph, or me and Justin and stuff. So, there's a good mix. And, something we always wanted to do with the podcast was to be diverse as possible and pick up as many great, funny and insightful people on it. And I think we did a really good job with that over time of just picking up different people to help us with the show. John, you're one of those people. It's one of the things that, wrestling and, and just shared interests in general, they build you a little subculture. I don't want to get too serious, but I do want to tell you something that is interesting about life. We run through life, and you get to be 30, 40 years old, and you go, man, I don't have any friends. What happened to my friends, right? So guess what? You have to make your own friends. You have to make your own subculture. And that's what the Road Home from Wrestling has been for, a large group of people. It's been this subculture thing that we all have in common, and that is something I'm very proud of. Of everything that we did, that's the thing I'm the most proud of. Yeah, we got some people booked some places. Yeah, maybe Lord Crewe wouldn't have been known up in Upper Ohio or whatever. That stuff's cool. That's fun. I'm really happy about that stuff. But the ability
me too.
to make our own culture, our own group of friends, that's what this was all about, and that's what I'm really proud of. So, I don't know. I don't know what else to say, I think maybe let's just go around the car and maybe just tell us one fun moment from the show, and then we can wrap it up. John, you want to start? You got something? Right on deck, right away, right on the spot?
Sure. I'll kind of just echo what you just said. Basically, the Road Home from Wrestling has given me something to do for the last 2 years. I really didn't have many friends because I'm at that point where I'm in my mid-30s, and most of my friends are married and having kids, and so this was something I kind of bumped into you at some shows, and you're like, hey, you should come do this podcast with us. And then the rest was history, and then this is what we literally did every single week for a year and a half until this pandemic started. And so, for me, this has been something I've looked forward to every single week. Being able to hang out with you, get to hang out with some of the different wrestlers, and actually become friends with some of these guys. And I'm I never imagined that I was actually going to be friends with real life wrestlers. And so it was cool that I've been able to actually develop friendships with some of those guys, ATM.
Yeah,
is legitimately one of my good friends now.
He's awesome.
And so without that, who the hell knows what I would have been doing? I probably wouldn't have saved a lot of money over the last 2 years, which I have been since the pandemic started. But yeah, I mean, the road home for me has been like, it's given me something to do, and it's given me like a purpose, kind of, for the last 2 years. And it's introduced me to a ton of wrestlers and promotions that I would have never had any idea about. Unsanctioned Pro, so freaking great. And I would have never known about it if it wasn't for you, Andy. And so thank you for just kind of always putting yourself out there and like willing to, you know, expose us to other people, whether good or bad. You know, we didn't know that at the time. But you still have always been very much a giving person to like put other people over. You never were concerned with yourself. You were always concerned with putting someone else over and making sure that they looked good. And so that's one thing that I like have truly appreciated about you, just as a person, is you've always been willing to do the job to make somebody else look good.
Well, that's what pro wrestling's all about, and if you don't know it already, that's kind of what life's all about. So, you know, that's one life lesson that I learned from wrestling, and I appreciate that. You know, what's one memory that sticks out?
Myron Reed diving over the turnbuckle onto Trey Lamar, who was on a door outside of the ring, and just crashing through that at the last UP show. That's one of the most like crazy things. Probably seeing Matt Stevens just bleed like crimson red during a cage match at NWF one time.
That was awesome. That was like one of the best.
His mom cussed out Ryan
Yeah,
Stone.
one of the best blade jobs I've ever seen. That was amazing. Like Ric Flair was like, man, that was pretty good, you know?
And then another just super oddball one real quick. There was a random NWF show at Covington Hits where they had a dugout match, which was just a lumberjack match, but for some reason the heel and faces were sitting on benches outside of the ring wearing baseball caps while Lexus and Larry D wrestled. And I very much remember Crewe like stealing somebody's popcorn and just like eating it and like throwing it at wrestlers during the match. And it's just like stupid shit like that I will always like hold on to and like cherish, like just dumb moments like that where it's like Crewe's just having a good time, but he's like entertaining the crowd by just having a good time with his boys out there.
Crewe's always been good at connecting with the crowd, and that's something that's very important in wrestling, you know? I mean, if you can't do that, then you can be the best wrestler in the world, and it doesn't matter. Well, Lord Crewe, tell us, you kind of just went on, talked a little bit about how the podcast has affected your life, but what's some, road home moments that maybe stick out in your mind?
So one of the things was that time that you and Lexus got questioned by the police outside of Bone Crushers, and you were being that typical, like, am I being detained or am I free to go? Officer, am I being detained? I'm just trying to, hang out and record a podcast. And I'm just sitting, like, watching from across the street because, like, I didn't want to deal with the fucking cops. But, like, I'm just sitting there like, oh, my God, I'm so worried about Lexus right now.
Yeah.
But then, but I figured, Andy's, for the most part, an intelligent dude, so he should be able to handle this just fine.
For the most part.
And then, so I'm just sitting, with popcorn, just, ooh, what's going on over here? Shit goes south, I'll at least, have, my phone out to, document it,
I still have a picture in my phone you sent me, and that was the album art, or the episode art for that episode
art,
too,
yeah.
So,
that was good. I will always love and appreciate the times that Aaron and I have been in the car together for these episodes, and we just go off on dusty roads, tangents, and baby. Sometimes we just start talking like Dusty, and we just can't get away from it, baby.
You gotta know what to do, and sometimes, honey, you gotta ride it out, baby.
And just honestly, just the thing for me with the podcast as well is, and it's the thing that I've always appreciated about it, is it gets, and John kind of touched on this about you putting people over, all the time, and it has been, a very good avenue for new people to hear about some of us, there may be people who listen to this show who might not see some of the product that you review. So it's a good way for these people to hear our names and, you know, give us a look and maybe give us a chance. And with what we do, that's so important. And, like, you know, I feel like this podcast helped me get my foot in the door at Unsanctioned. And then, you know, and I absolutely love what I do at Unsanctioned. Derek's great. And just for me too, I like listening to you guys review my matches because you always give very honest reviews.
Yeah.
If you think a match sucks, you'll say that it sucks. You don't. There are so many people who are worried about hurt, you know, or getting heat or hurting somebody's feelings if they say something wasn't so great. But I'm always been a fan of constructive criticism. Like, if I did something that sucks, I want to know it sucks so I can improve it. And I want to take a second to let you know how much I appreciate your honesty and your, you know, in-depth critiques of the stuff that we do.
Well, we always, you know, when we have a negative thing to say, especially, we want to have a reason for that. You
Right.
know, I mean, there's so many shows out there. They're just like, man, WWE sucks. You watch that? That sucked. Okay,
Yeah.
well, why did it suck?
Right.
You don't even understand the product. You don't even understand how wrestling works.
Right.
Tell me how wrestling works and why does this suck from your point of view?
Yeah.
You know, so that's something that we always worked on, you know, is trying to say, why? Why do you think these things? And if you have no reason for why you think this stuff, then what the fuck, what does your opinion matter? You know?
Yeah, if your opinion doesn't have anything to, you know, add weight to it, then it doesn't really, you know.
And we're wrong a lot of times too. So I mean that, you know, but a lot of the opinion stuff, you're right. So, well, I really appreciate that, man. That's awesome. Now, Aaron, you've been with us almost from the very beginning. You were the first wrestler to kind of reach out to us. I remember, you know, me, you, and Dean sitting in this restaurant over in Eastgate, and yeah, I got your phone number that night, and I still have it in my phone since then. And we've been good friends ever since. But tell me, what are some, you know, road home moments that you remember?
Freaking good guy, Aaron.
He was thinking, oh, these guys could put me over.
Man, honestly, like, I've been listening to everybody else talk, and as I'm sitting back here and I'm listening to all of it, it's kind of breaking my heart, to be completely honest with you. Sorry.
You're okay. Take as much time as you need.
Gosh.
You're crying.
Shut up, dude.
Do you want me to sing that
Sure.
song again?
Crying.
But I guess it's a kind of a big deal, and because there's so many moments that I can sit here and I can talk about the podcast and stuff we've talked about, bull crapping with parodies of impersonations of people, and talking about good matches or bad matches.
People's foreheads getting mashed in.
People's foreheads getting mashed in, and it being hysterical. But for me, like, I have been with you guys since pretty much the beginning of this thing, and I do remember very greatly sitting in that restaurant and just talking until they basically kicked us out.
They did. They kicked us out of the store.
I do want to add something when you're done. Go on.
And but I think for me, like, there's so many good memories. But for me, what the best memory I have is that I've been wrestling for going on, like 18 years. And the majority of that time, I've been by myself. I haven't had anybody. I didn't have somebody to get in the car with me and go on road trips with. I didn't have a friend that I could just call and be like, hey, I got this idea that I'm thinking about doing. What do you think about it? Or, you know, just whatever. I never had that until we started doing the podcast. And then you guys gave me that. You gave me friends that loved what I loved. And I could get in the car and we could go places together. And we could just talk about the thing we loved. And then get into deeper conversation. And become good friends. And then we could branch out. And I could find more people that I loved. And I'm going to really miss that. But there's too many memories for me to pick one, so that's what I'm going with.
Okay.
The one thing that I want to add real quick it's, you know, the things that you asked that kind of stick out to us. I don't think I've ever told you this, but when I really got keen to the podcast was during a time when I was out with a knee injury. So I wasn't going to every show every weekend because I was trying to heal from a ruptured patella tendon so I could get back to the ring as quickly as possible. So a lot of times, to keep up with what was going on at promotions that I wrestle at, I would listen to the podcast because I knew that you would give an accurate rundown of what was going on, and it could keep me in tune with kind of what I was looking forward to coming back to. And during that 6 months where I was out with that injury, that, you know, was a really bummer time for me because I was robbed of the thing that I love the most. And I would look forward to you guys posting, you know, the review of the show for that week because it gave me something to, you know, it reminded me of that thing that I love and that thing that I was striving so hard to get back to. And then once I finally did make my return, like, you guys, you know, welcomed me with open arms and, you know, told me I looked like Satan incarnate, which to me that's a fucking super dope compliment. But, like, I don't know that I've ever told you that, you know, like, during that time where I was kind of, you know, down with injury and stuff, that, like, this show was a huge part of my healing process from a mental standpoint because it kept me, you know, in tune with the thing that I care about. So I want to say thank you for that.
That's awesome. I had no idea that you listened before we first met you, you know, and that's another thing. We have, other than when people walk up and say, hey, I listened to your show, we don't know if you listened or not. So we know a lot of wrestlers listen to the show. A lot of them are embarrassed to admit that for some reason, which is bizarre to me. I don't understand that. You know, I get it why in certain areas of the Ohio area why people might act that way, but that's a whole other story. But, you know, for the most part, you know, there's guys like you guys who are like, hey, yeah, I like the show. I like what you said the other day. And then there's people that don't want to admit that because it's some kind of against their macho-ness or something. I don't really understand it. John Murray said it to us once. He said, you know, there's a lot of guys who think they're too tough, you know, to admit it, but we all appreciate you. That's what he told us once in an interview, which is an awesome interview, by the way. And
John Murray's good.
He's a good dude. He's one of the good ones, you know.
Love John Murray.
And he was one of those guys that was honest with us. So I appreciate that because we, you know, it's funny. Our show is all about giving feedback, right? But we never get the feedback, you know, like we never get it. And so it's very rare. And we set up an email address and we're like, yeah, email anytime. No one ever fucking emailed, ever. I mean, ever. We got one email from my sister. That was the only person that emailed, you know, and so it is nice to hear that kind of thing, you know, after the fact, of course, but you know, it's nice to hear that the podcast had made its way to people who weren't even kind of on the roster at the time, you know, so...
What's your favorite memory?
Well, you know, I've been listening to some of the older episodes, and I gotta say, you know, and no offense to anyone in this car, because my favorite memories are stuff that didn't happen on the show. You know, me and Aaron working on ideas together. We've done that a lot, you know, and things like that. And then seeing those things, like seeing things play out in the ring that were either an idea that I worked on with someone or a joke from the podcast, you know. A really good memory of that would be when I first met Matt Stevens. He, you know, we were joking around how he Pearl Harbors people all the time. And so he just yells Pearl Harbor and, like, looks at us and does a Pearl Harbor. And we're like, okay, this is how you're telling me you listen to the show, right? And so that kind of stuff would happen. I remember Roger Ruffin once, you know, I would always joke around about how it's the UF-20, 420, 69 Zombie Hall or whatever, because I could never remember what the UAW Hall was. And he, like, screamed in the microphone while looking at me, the UAW Hall! Like that. Shit like that.
Scooby-Doo.
It is my favorite stuff. But, you know, if I had to nail it down to one moment that is kind of stands out more than any of them, you know, just off the top of my head, I will say, you know, maybe that John Murray interview. You guys, I'm not going to get into this too much because it's not anybody's business, but when the podcast first started, Dean had a big problem in his life, all right? And it's nothing that's his fault. He lost somebody that was really close to him, and it was a big fucking deal. And it was one of the most terrible things that could happen to someone. And we had been going to Rockstar all the time, and that was like one of his things that kept him going, just like for all of us, you know?
Yeah.
And he had missed a couple shows. So I had talked to John Murray. He was one of our favorite guys, and I had John Murray, like, record these little videos, like, hey, Dean, I miss you, and blah, blah, blah. And John Murray didn't ask for any money. He just did that for free. And we added those to the interview episode where we talked to John Murray, and we talked to him about that. And that is a pretty special moment because it's like, you know, Dean gets to talk to him about how much that meant to him, and it's just full honesties going on, right, all at the same time, you know. That's awesome. You know, many of the I mean, John, me and you going to Old Wrestling, I mean, that is one of the best episodes we've ever done. It is fantastic, and of all the episodes, that's the one we got the most feedback about. I mean, the promoter messaged me and was like, holy shit, that's amazing. You know, like, it was a really good one. Getting you on the show has been something that's been a savior, because as I said before, if it weren't for the co-host, the show would have never taken off. It would have never been what it is. So I just thank everybody, and I'm very grateful. You know, I'm grateful to the listeners, you know, the folks that are out there listening to this. If we didn't get a message from you every once in a while, if you didn't come up to us at a show and say, hey man, I like the show, we wouldn't have done it, you know. So all that stuff is just awesome. I hate to say goodbye. You know, as Gary said, it's just so long, but for me, it's goodbye. You know, if you guys want to listen to me, my further podcast adventures, it'll be on the Never Open podcast, which is about New Japan, and that's where I'll be. Now, John, you have my blessing to continue the show, and that's something you've been thinking about. Where's your head at with that?
I think that there might be a reboot in the works, maybe down the road.
Okay.
A little bit. Maybe once Ohio gets open again, because I can't go to shows every weekend and kind of just hit the towns like we were every week. But I think in the future, you know, give it a little more of a break. I might reboot it. I know me and you have also discussed maybe doing a movie podcast.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
We've always really enjoyed.
I like movies.
You like movies?
I like movies.
We've always really enjoyed like going to see movies and then hopping in the car and reviewing those.
Can we
and breaking them down?
We review Riccio, the story of Ricky.
Oh, well,
Maybe in the future.
So yes, there might be a reboot in the future. You'll just have to stay tuned and find out. Not all reboots are good, so we'll see.
Well, it is a shame, and that's the one thing, the regret I have, is that me and you, we were not on the same page at first, you know, and so over time we've developed a really good chemistry, and so I hate to see that go to waste, you know what I mean? It's like, I really don't want that to be wasted. I want that to be something that we can continue to do in the future, just maybe not about wrestling, you know?
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm at with all that. What, you guys got anything else to say?
I don't know, baby. I'm thinking that it's a sad day here on the road home from wrestling, but I think there is good things on the horizon. Wouldn't you think so?
I think this is hard times, baby. When they tell you that they're canceling the podcast and they give you a gold watch and tell you that he's replacing it with the Never Open podcast, that's hard times, Daddy.
All right, well, I mean, you can't go out any better than that, you know? So, I love everybody out there. Thank you guys so much for listening.
Sayonara.
Last time.
Yeah, dude.
Man, hold on.
Unless there's a relaunch.
Let's breathe for a second.
I'm sorry.
This is the end. It's the end of an era.
It is. It is.
Although we've come to the end.
Wait a minute. I don't know if I like that Bruce Smith song. I don't know if I like that one. Is that the... Come on, baby. I know that you were running around with that other fella, but I don't care, because I love you. Is that song?
I don't know.
Yeah, there's like a
Okay, no, that's
random like
terrible. Nope, you can't.
there's
I
like a
can't.
speaking line in the middle.
Yeah, I don't know. Or he's basically like, I know you a hoe, but I love you anyway, and I will forgive your
This is all
hoeiness.
staying in, by the way.
Like, just come back to me, girl. I want you. You got that good booty, and I need you back.